Hello and good evening and welcome once again to Beyond the Boundary. आप देख रहे हैं TUI Sports and this is going to be a very interesting week क्योंकि Champions Trophy का न्यूज़ कभी भी आ सकता है and more importantly we are going to be building up to the second test between Australia and India. It's the pink ball test. It's going to be happening in Adelaide, which is a favorite hunting ground for Virat Kohli. So lots to discuss. There was a pink ball warm-up game. तो हम बात करेंगे. We'll be building up to that second test, but we're also keeping our eyes and ears open for any news of the Champions Trophy whenever it comes. तो चलिए आज की चर्चा शुरू करते हैं. आज हम शुरुआत करेंगे बीजीटी से और देखेंगे कि प्रैक्टिस मैच में क्या हुआ है, डिस्कस करेंगे. शुभमन गिल ने वापसी की है, रोहित शर्मा ने वापसी की है. कैसा रहा भारत के लिए ये प्रैक्टिस गेम? और मेरे साथ चेतन नरूला हूं मैं और मेरे साथ बात करने के लिए है नितिन नायक, गोपाइन दत्ता एंड गौरव गुप्ता. वी हैव अ फुल पैनल once again. Welcome gentlemen. It's going to be a very important week. We're going to be discussing World Test Championship scenarios. बहुत कुछ है बात करने के लिए, तो शुरुआत करते हैं. फर्स्ट डे जो था वो वॉश आउट रहा कैनबेरा में, लेकिन सेकंड डे यू हैड 50 ओवर गेम और 46 ओवर गेम फॉर बोथ साइड्स एंड आई वोंट से इंडिया वन मतलब इट्स अ प्रैक्टिस गेम, तो इसमें जीत की बात तो नहीं है. या in terms of how the team fared, 240 all out for PM's 11 and India 257 for 5. The opener Sam Constas 107 for PM 11, but अगर हम बात करें, there were quite a few reveals, एक तरीके से कह सकते हैं. Rahul opening once again, Shubman batting at number 3, and then you had Rohit Sharma batting in the middle order. Is that the big question of this week? क्या भारतीय टीम ने, क्या इंडियन टीम ने अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी रिवील कर दी है फॉर द अपकमिंग सेकंड टेस्ट मैच? नितिन नायक, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद यू.
It seems as if they have settled on a opening combination of Jaiswal and Rahul. Otherwise, you would have seen definitely Rohit bat up the order yesterday since he's short of match practice and short of net also net time also. So I thought he would make do with the opportunity to bat up the order, but
Yeah.
uh, but here he was willing to bat lower.
Hmm.
Uh, Rahul and Jaiswal again. Although the attack I don't think was great apart from Scott Boland, but I think they still left a lot of deliveries.
Yeah.
And with Rahul retiring and Jaiswal getting out, then we had Rohit coming in. So I think
Hmm.
we'll see the same tactics possibly at Adelaide too.
Yeah. Okay. You look at the way the scorecard is going. अगर आप देखो, हम पहले bowling की बात करें, अगर दोपायन, you had Harshit Rana once again 4 for 44. Uh, he's coming leaps and bounds, but the interesting thing for me was also 2 for 58 for Akash Deep. He's somebody who gets that fair bit of movement. If he pitches the ball up, he's somebody who can move the new ball with the pink ball. That is what you're looking for. Is there a chance? Because हमने देखा है कि okay, spinners don't really come into play, especially when you're playing overseas, unless you're playing in Ahmedabad, half prepared tracks. वहाँ पे spinners or pink ball, they finish the matches in 1.5 days. But on an Adelaide surface, you would want as many fast bowlers. Looking at the bowling card, first of all, do you expect any changes in there? Ravindra Jadeja, he featured in this game, although was a little expensive with the ball as well. So, your thoughts? Are we looking at a similar bowling lineup?
I think we are looking at a similar bowling lineup because Akashdeep, though he bowled well, the thing is Harshit Rana got those 4 wickets with a slightly older ball at a time during the day when
Hmm.
there was not much movement in the that twilight. It wasn't the twilight session. At that point of time, uh, he his pace came to the fore and got him the wickets. So this is a different dimension to the attack. So if Arshdeep Singh, sorry, if what's his name? Sorry, I'm just getting the name wrong. Akashdeep. If
Akashdeep. Akashdeep.
Akashdeep has to, if Akashdeep has to play, then he has to play in place of Siraj, which won't happen. I'm guessing. So
Hmm.
and I think there will be one spinner because you have to keep the over rates in mind and all that. So I do
Yeah.
not see any change in the bowling.
Okay. गौरव गुप्ता, वेलकम बैक टू द शो। यहाँ पे काफी सारे कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं कि आप इंडियन टीम की चेंज करना चाहोगे। प्लेइंग 11, यू वन द फर्स्ट मैच, आप अपनी विनिंग कॉम्बिनेशन रखना चाहोगे। इज दैट हाउ यू आल्सो लुक एट इट? ओम प्रकाश दास कह रहे हैं कि आप, इट्स फेयर टू गिव केएल दैट रन आफ्टर दैट फर्स्ट परफॉर्मेंस। योर ओपनिंग थॉट्स इन टुडेज डिस्कशन?
100%। आई थिंक केएल शुड बी गिवन अ लॉन्ग रन नाउ। अब बहुत हो गया कि उनको अंदर बाहर करके एंड वन और टू फेलियर्स एंड ही इज आउट। आई थिंक ही शुड बी नाउ penned in for good, the next sort of couple of years. You have to go forward with batsmen like him in the team, and potentially, the next test captain भी हम उनको देख सकते हैं along with Shubman Gill, is what I feel. मतलब because you have to now give him that confidence, yeah, because he's a very confidence related player. जब वो confident होते हैं वो बहुत अच्छा खेलते हैं. When you give him that, and once you sort of have him under the pump and you start questioning his plays, and that is where I think things start going wrong with him. So you have to place that faith in him at some point in his career. He's played now more than 50 test matches. He's come along nicely, showed us that. And see, he's our best batsman in the last few years in overseas conditions. I mean, when you're talking about, Sena countries. So let's, sort of back him to the hilt. And I think बाकी जो बैटिंग लाइन है मुझे लगता है कि शायद ऑब्वियसली पिंक बॉल मैच में अगर रोहित नीचे आए तो ये बहुत बड़ा डेवलपमेंट है और यही होने वाला है with Shubman continuing at three and getting back his place at three, and then you have KL and Yashasvi Jaiswal opening. So and Rohit also, let's not forget it, is going through a very bad patch at the moment. और opening में वो जिस तरह से वानखेड़े भी out हुए, 91 runs I think he got in the three test matches in India against New Zealand. Before that also there have been starts, but he's gotten out. So I think it's time for him to hand over that top 3-4 batting slots to the Gen Next, and move on to the to the middle, to the number 5, number 6 slot, where perhaps he can take control of the game. नीचे अगर कुछ collapse होता है कुछ होता है, and also he's a brilliant player of spin bowling. So that's another factor
Okay.
that can.
Spin bowling factor again from a pink ball test point of view. I'm not sure with Nathan Lyon. ठीक है, कितना spin bowling होगा? एक बड़ा factor ये रहेगा कि Josh Hazelwood is probably ruled out of the test match. So is that going to be advantage for India? Scott Boland is going to be included in that playing 11. I think it's been almost 2 decades or almost 1.5 decades since this bowling attack का जो top four है इनका, उनमें से किसी ने एक test match miss किया है. Okay, look, नितिन, गेटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ कमेंट्स। ये कैप्टनसी वाला जो कमेंट दिया जीजी ने, ये इसे भड़का दिया काफी लोगों को। आई थिंक दैट्स स्ट्रेचिंग इट अ बिट टू फार। लेट्स कीप इट टू बैटिंग, लेट्स कीप इट टू ओपनिंग, लेट्स कीप इट टू हॉर्सेस फॉर कोर्सेस। ओके, लेट्स नॉट थिंक अबाउट व्हाट्स गोइंग टू हैपन नेक्स्ट ईयर, ये वो सब छोड़ दो अभी आप। यू जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट विनिंग दिस सीरीज, you won the first test, you want to take that momentum forward. From that perspective, why break something which is not broken? जो चीज काम कर रही है उसको करने दो ना. So from that perspective, or Jaiswal and Rahul looked really solid once again. Again, like you said, it was not the best bowling attack for PM's 11. At the same time, ऐसे लगा नहीं कि they are suddenly out of rhythm या Perth was an aberration, nothing of that sort. It was a good partnership. It continued in the same flow, and that flow, if I'm the Indian captain, if I'm the Indian coach, I don't want to break that flow.
Yeah, also I think what would delight the Indian supporters was that they batted when it was dark under
Yeah.
lights, and they
Hmm.
and they were and they looked pretty solid and pretty good. So, and supposing if they bat first at Adelaide, then I think the team that bats first at Adelaide gets to control
Yeah.
when the other side bats,
Hmm.
especially if it's in the twilight zone.
Unless you
So
got bowled out for 46.
unless you get bowled out for 36, yeah. So here I think what would delight the team management is the way both of them batted under lights with the pink ball, and I think there were cues right from beginning, isn't it? I mean, the very fact that KL was sent out earlier than the others and made to play that game in Melbourne as an opener.
Hmm.
I think unfortunately the team management does not have the confidence on Ishwaran to open in these conditions, and that is why I
Hmm.
think Rahul was given the responsibility to open, and I think this is what we're going to see throughout the series.
Okay, okay. Let's also talk about the fact that okay, Virat Kohli was not there. He was practicing in the nets with Jasprit Bumrah. Apparently, faced quite a spell, and both of them were really going against each other. दैट वाज गुड टू सी एज वेल. बट एट द सेम टाइम अगर हम बात करें, यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक पॉइंट नहीं है, यहाँ पे 2 पॉइंट है. तो जो आपका बैटिंग लाइनअप है दोपायन, दैट इज गोइंग टू कम्प्लीटली चेंज अराउंड. शुभमन गिल हैज मेड अ मिराकुलस रिकवरी. मुझे लगा they will still be a little guarded with Shubman Gill कि ठीक है उसको expose नहीं करेंगे, but the fact that he played, the fact that he scored a half century and he looked good. Spanking drives, जो spanking shots that we expect from him, thanks to the Australian bounce, that was good to see once again, which we saw on the last Australian tour. So again, as we had talked him up, he's the big hope. So he's back now. Rohit Sharma is back now. So the Indian batting lineup is going to look different. Now it's just a matter of how different it is going to look.
Yes, like Shubman at three and Rohit at either five or six.
Hmm.
That's going to be the only change. It's not a bad idea if Rohit in fact comes down at six and let Pant stay at five, because Rohit
Hmm.
as you made his debut at number six, scored a century on
Yeah.
debut against West
Yeah.
Indies, 177.
Hmm.
So and I'm just guessing that this is the last full test series of his career. I just have a feeling. So it will not be a bad idea for him to get back there and
Yeah.
bat and take a little bit of pressure away from himself, because
Hmm.
yes, he has been struggling against the moving ball, that we have seen, especially in
Hmm.
home conditions. When you are struggling against the moving ball, that's a cause for worry. So, and even
Hmm.
yesterday he looked rusty. I'm not saying it's getting out for three is a major factor, but yes, he looked slightly rusty, and it will be better for
Of
him if
course.
he bats at five. Yeah, yeah. If he bats at five or six, it will be better for the team and better for himself. So the team looks good at the moment. At the moment, all everything seems fine, but you never
Hmm.
know with like we can't predict things how it will go. One
Yeah.
session here and one session there, but
Yeah.
all things look good at the moment.
ओके, यू नो व्हाट, लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर सेइंग कि उसको मिडिल ऑर्डर में बैटिंग करना है, उसको टॉप ऑर्डर में बैटिंग करना है. नितिन हैज सेड कि द फैक्ट दैट जो ट्वाइलाइट जोन रहेगा, there's an afternoon session and there's an evening session, and an evening session and afternoon session में batting with the pink ball is relatively easier. The toughest job for the batters is that twilight session, or especially in Australia when India में इतना twilight नहीं रहता है, where the sky doesn't really turn pink. Adelaide skies turn absolutely pink, and then you find it a little hard to pick the ball. So let's take a few comments. Let's say what our viewers are saying, and then uh, take some comments here. Anirban says KL is not an object for experiment. If he does well this series, then he should be considered for future tests. Else leave him out once and for all. देखो लीव आउट की बात तो नहीं करते हैं यहाँ पे जीजी, और आप कैप्टन बनाने की बात भी मत करो. Don't get ahead of yourself. लेकिन again, it will be good. From taking from Anirban's comment, it will be good. You gave him a spot. He made it work. He made it look it absolutely beautiful the way he batted. Unfortunate he did not get his 100. अब आप उसको ब्रेक नहीं करना चाहोगे. अब आप उसको टॉप 3 से नीचे लाना नहीं चाहोगे. वो एक्सपेरिमेंट आप खराब नहीं करना चाहोगे. एंड यू नो फॉर अ फैक्ट दैट यू नीड हिम टू बैट इन द टॉप 3. अब शुभमन वापस आ गए हैं, तो टॉप 3 में जगह फिर एक ही बचती है, एंड द ओनली सोल्यूशन इज रोहित टू मूव डाउन. दैट्स अ सेपरेट डिबेट. व्हाई इज दैट अ डिबेट? वी विल कम टू दैट. बट यहाँ पे अनिर्बन की बात यह है कि जो एक्सपेरिमेंट है, लेट्स नॉट कीप डूइंग दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन.
यार 200 रन की ओपनिंग पार्टनरशिप लगाई उन्होंने और यशस्वी जायसवाल ने. तो उसके और जो मेरे ख्याल से ऑस्ट्रेलिया में बहुत कम 200 की पार्टनरशिप राइवल टीम्स ने लगाई है इन टेस्ट मैचेस. एंड आई मीन फॉर इंडिया आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट अ फर्स्ट. So I mean, why would you disturb something like that? They complement each other beautifully, and KL also, remember the way he shepherded Yashasvi in that partnership, the way he took him along. I thought that was beautiful to watch. And जब वो दूसरे end पे शॉट लगते हैं, तो यशस्वी can also open his arms and go for those shots. With Rohit क्या हो गया है कि he's sort of over attacking at times, and I think that puts Yashasvi also in a frame of mind कि मैं attack करूँ या मैं defense करूँ, क्योंकि ये बंदा तो is only playing in one gear. So I think then you tend to think, यार मैं should I sort of control myself with Rahul. I think he's getting that free flow to play the game that he wants to. So that is what I feel that he
Okay.
complements Yashasvi pretty well.
Okay, and the fact that he's eating up a lot of deliveries. Cheteshwar Pujara is also talking with the broadcaster and saying कि नहीं आप top three से नीचे batting नहीं करा सकते हो. Now the fact that Shubman Gill has come back, एक debate or let's say कि one point of discussion is also taken away. Now let's talk about Rohit Sharma and let's take a couple of comments here because Nitin, it's not just about where he bats. It's also about how long he bats, what is the kind of form. जैसे दोपायन ने कहा कि he was looking a bit rusty and scratchy. Yes, आप इंडिया में प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में प्रैक्टिस विकेट का बाउंस ही बहुत डिफरेंट होने वाला है, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be very different. He's somebody who's been struggling for form. He's been somebody who's been struggling against the seam movement. ठीक है, एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया में आपको वो एग्जैजरेटेड सी मूवमेंट मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. नाउ विद द चेंज इन कुकाबुरा व्हिच इज स्टेइंग अ लॉट fresher, it takes a lot to get the Kukabura old. So let's take a couple of comments here. Sunny says Rohit at 6 after multiple failures in middle order at age 38. He has to become Hitman 3.0. Is that even feasible? So that's the first question. Is that even feasible? And we'll take another comment, which is almost the same thing. And Dopine, I'll also get thoughts from you on this. Talking point is Rohit's form, irrespective of where he bats. And again, number 4 पे उन्होंने batting की थी. For me, the runs don't matter. The number of runs he scored or did not score, it's a practice game, hardly matters. Only faced 11 deliveries. From a batting perspective, I would have wanted Rohit Sharma to bat for half an hour, 45 minutes, and see, boss, how is he feeling? What is the feel for the pitches, for the ball, for the moving delivery? That did not happen. For me, that is the big concern. Nitin and then Vapayan.
Yeah, it is a concern. But again, I think if we've seen his dismissals against the Pacers in India, I think all of them were too aggressive shots, stepping out to Southie,
Hmm.
and trying to almost manufacture strokes, which I think the nature of the pitches that we played on kind of got into his head, and which made him play that way. If you see his
Hmm.
approach in the series against England, where India batted on truer pitches, on better pitches, I think he batted in the traditional format. The one innings that he played well, with the 50 odd that he got
Yeah.
against New Zealand at Bangalore, where the
Yeah.
pitch had settled down in the second innings. I thought
Yeah.
he looked his old self. So I think wherever he bats, be it at number 6, number 5, or open, he should go back to that old method of
Hmm.
of just playing out time. What may benefit him when he bats lower is the bowlers. If the openers especially have done well, the bowlers would probably be in their second or third spells, and the ball would have also got a little softer, which would give him a greater opportunity to succeed. And I just hope that his social media team, or the troll army, or the Viratians versus the Rohitians, or whatever we have on social media, we I just hope that they stay away from words like selfless captain, captain with intent, and all that. I think we just
Let's,
need
yeah.
the good old Rohit Sharma who bats out time.
Hmm. Look, this social media thing, this fan club versus that fan club. I think that is the saddest. I think that is the saddest part of Indian cricket fandom, if I can say so. जो अभी ये शुरू हो गया है, I remember the World Cup final, and World Cup final चल रहा है. India is in trouble, and all one side could do was talk about the other side, the other side talk about the other side. It was so disappointing to watch. Like in social media, hai, it's the necessary evil. What can you do about it? But let's talk about the point that you made. Nitin, the fact that when the ball gets older and then he can bat a bit easier, he'll find the conditions a bit here. We're talking about Rohit Sharma here. That is an acceptance, तो पायन, कि उनका form, उनका touch वैसा वाला नहीं है. That he is struggling against the new ball. That is, if he bats in the middle order at 5 or 6, that will be the first acceptance for me that he's saying, okay, you know what, his batting prowess is perhaps a little bit waning.
Yes, see, Rohit Sharma at the end of the day is a very hand-eye coordination player. So as you get old, you will see such players like Krishnamachari Shrikant, Virendra Sehwag. As they got to the back end of their 30s, like you could see the struggle, and Australia
Yeah.
becomes a very but it gives it takes a very stern examination, because bounce and movement, two things come into play, and that becomes a, a serious factor there. So in that situation. But the two names that I took, like neither Shrikant nor Sehwag had the option of coming down the order. They had to keep opening, and
Yeah.
probably they would have preferred to keep opening also. But here, one good thing about Rohit Sharma is that Rohit Sharma is a very flexible guy. We have seen him
Yeah.
captaining Mumbai Indians also. Like, he has taken decisions which are for the basic welfare of the team. If he has to come down the order, he has done that. तो उसका मेरे को लगता है ऊपर से कि उसका उतना ईगो अपने गेम के बारे में उतना नहीं है. Like, it's all
Mm,
for the team. So
mm,
if he quietly accepts the fact that yes, I am not the player that I was, and I'll be better off playing the slightly older ball, then it's good for him. And I think if he comes in at 5 or 6 with a decent amount of runs on the board and less lateral movement, only bounce he will handle it well. Lateral movement is the problem. I think
mm.
it will be a very judicious decision for him to come in, understand where he stands as a cricketer, and take his call accordingly.
Okay, okay. A lot more comments are coming here. Virat is also a hand-eye coordination player, absolutely, and
But
hand-eye
Virat's
coordination. But
grammar is far better.
yeah,
Virat is
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
grammatically correct. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and also the fact that they're very different batters in terms of using footwork, in terms of getting on the front foot or getting on the back foot, in terms of how to play the short ball, in terms of how to cut, how to play the square drive. So, agar aap, they belong to different schools of cricket in terms of their stroke making. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So, agar वो hand eye coordination अगर उनका थोड़ा weak भी हो रहा है, तो the way Rohit is going to counter that is going to be absolutely different from the way Virat is going to counter that. So um, यहाँ पे एक जो point उठ के आ रहा है जी जी वो ये है कि would you prefer, let's say KL and Yashasvi are going to open, would you prefer a Rohit Sharma at 3 or a Shubman Gill at 3 or a Shubman Gill at 5 or a Rohit Sharma at 5? I'm looking for that comment where someone said that you had your, if the top order is able to blunt the new ball, then you need your stroke makers against the older ball. And ठीक है, Shubman Gill, I mean, of course, Rohit Sharma is a stroke maker as well, but Shubman Gill, with that youth, with the kind of touch that he has, look, his touch is not that bad, 50 of 62. He's definitely not struggling as much as Rohit Sharma is struggling for runs. So, uh, would you prefer Rohit Sharma at 3 or Rohit Sharma at 5 or Shubman Gill at 3 or Shubman Gill at 5? Is that a debate? Is that a debate as well?
I think Shubman Gill को firstly, मतलब if you talk about him, he should be left at 3 because
Hmm.
already उनको हमने opening से हिला के नीचे लाए वन डाउन पे, जो कि
Hmm.
अपने आप में एक उनके लिए बहुत बड़ा करियर मूव था और रिस्क भी था. ठीक है, and he has done well to adapt to that batting order, that one down thing from opening, and he's done that beautifully. He's managed to score a few hundreds and now he's settled in that position and he's got the whiff of it. अब suddenly आप इनसे उनको बोलेंगे नहीं आप और नीचे जाओ, फिर एक दिन बोलेंगे अच्छा वापस ओपनिंग करो, then you're sort of again unsettling him. So I think he should be just left alone to sort of keep cementing his position at the one drop spot. And I think at number 5 आप रोहित को लेके आइए because he is obviously not in the best of form, not in the best of touch, and clearly struggling very badly, I would say, against the quicks. वही जो उनका pull shot जिससे वो छक्के मारते हैं, perhaps he's been India's, I would say, that almost the best ever pull shot player we've had. And those same pull shots are now going to the fielders either as catches or generally as shots. So he's really sort of searching for the ball at the moment, and I think
Yeah.
kahin na kahin obviously those conversations should have begun under Rahul Dravid. Unfortunately, did not. As I keep saying on the show, the transition was delayed when it came to a couple of players. I think with him and Ashwin, those conversations would have started in Australia. So and having said that, it's not like Rohit is obviously a terrific batsman. और बहुत सारे जो उनके टेस्ट नंबर्स हैं, लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट कि उन्होंने एशिया में बहुत अच्छा किया है, इंडिया बहुत अच्छा किया है. बाहर शायद उतना अच्छा नहीं किया है. इंग्लैंड tour he did pretty well, in 2021. Other than that, I think he was always somebody who had to prove himself outside India.
Yeah.
So it's better that he's sort of allowed to rediscover his touch and shine out on a high, as Dwaypan said, in the middle order.
Okay. Okay. Nitin, do you accept this premise where Shubman Gill को हम टच नहीं करेंगे नंबर 3 पे, ठीक है? Is that the way to go about it? Why I'm saying that is because, look, because of the situation now, because of the situation that has arisen now, सबकी बैटिंग position change हो रही है, and it is changing for the bigger cause. The bigger cause is that the team found a solution, and that solution has worked. It was a solution found in adversity. थोड़ा tough situation हो गया था, Rohit was not there, Gill was injured, this that, जो भी आपको solution मिला top order का, it worked out. So before the series started, we discussed कि India is not looking to touch the core, where Gill at 3, Virat at 4, Rishabh Pant at 5. But now, because you found a solution that works better, that has countered Australia, or let's say that has blunted Australia. पहले ही टेस्ट मैच में ऑस्ट्रेलिया की हालत खराब कर दी. Does that still mean that we stick with that same solution, or the idea that Gill, Kohli और Pant इनकी position हम touch नहीं करेंगे? Is that still relevant?
Yeah, it is relevant because I think the mandate from
Hmm.
the Indian cricket community and Indian cricket fans is a victory in this series and possibly a spot in the World Test Championship final, which I don't think is feasible at the moment. But I feel that the mandate from the fans is to win this series, to erase the pains of the
Hmm.
Kiwi 3-0 defeat. So for that reason, and having started so well,
Hmm.
having led the series and coming into Adelaide, which possibly present less spicier conditions, at least when the lights are not on. So I feel that they should let number 3, 4, 5 remain untouched, and if anyone has to adjust, it has to be unfortunately the captain.
Hmm.
Uh, he has adjusted in the past and given up spots to allow others to flower,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I hope that he does it again. And yeah, I mean, we should we are generally a team that plays well when we are behind, but
Yeah.
now that we are in
Yeah.
front, it's
Yes.
it's it's a huge test, that
Hmm.
we should not mess it up.
Okay. Look, this discussion is going to run and run this whole week. इसमें तो कोई शक की बात नहीं है. The Ryan, just a thought from you as well, because they could have been selling a dummy also. This is what the Indian team management always does also, कि भैया हम दिखाएंगे कुछ और, करेंगे कुछ और. So this practice game was an absolute brilliant opportunity to just say कि boss आप ऐसे खेलो, and then you play in the second test match in a different way. Do you think that is at all possible?
Uh, no, because of the 200-run opening partnership. I think
Okay.
that is where probably seals the deal, because you should not be disturbing a 200-run opening partnership. So I think that I also thought about this, that whether they are selling a dummy or not, even when
Yeah,
yesterday
yeah.
was, but because but then as I pondered over it, I thought, okay, why would you disturb a 200 run opening
200 opening.
partnership? ये होता ही नहीं है. So I think they will not do that. They will allow Rohit to come in. Rohit
Yeah.
will allow himself to come in the middle and let the opening partnership be at least for the next
Mm.
two tests. अगर
Yes.
इसके बाद if things go wrong, then there can be changes going forward, but not right away.
Right. Right, and the fact, जैसे हमने कहा कि Shubman Gill was back in the playing 11, he was back batting, and he would look very very comfortable, look very good. That also perhaps will alter the plans. Again, like I said, ये story काफी लंबी चलेगी. Pre match में जो भी press conferences होंगी उसमें ये सवाल बहुत खड़े होंगे. Rohit Sharma, will he come for the pre-match press conference? We'll have to wait and watch. That will be his first press conference ahead of the for this Test series. So हम देखेंगे क्या होता है. Now let's also talk about the World Test Championship scenarios, because as Nitin said, ये किसी ने तो expect किया नहीं था कि India will be 1-0 up. Plus there are other series also going on, especially the South Africa Sri Lanka series. So let's have that on board. And see कि भैया क्या permutations or combinations हैं. Nimish पूछ रहे हैं, do we need 4-1 to make it to the WTC final? Well, yes, we kind of do, if we don't need to depend on anybody. तो आपका जो सिनेरियो 1 है उसमें आप देख सकते हो 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, 5-0. these will be unprecedented, by the way, for an Indian team to go to Australia and smash them like that. और first test के बाद मैं जरूर कहूंगा कि मेरी hopes थोड़ी सी तो बढ़ गई हैं. But even then, to have that unprecedented, that score line, if we don't need to depend on anyone. Scenario two, 3-1, we'll qualify with 3-1 unless South Africa defeats Sri Lanka at home in second test, which means South Africa wins 2-0. Scenario 3, 3-2 will be good enough. लेकिन श्रीलंका को सेकंड टेस्ट मैच जो है, सॉरी, श्रीलंका को ऑस्ट्रेलिया जो घर पे खेलेंगे वो वहां पे एटलीस्ट उन्हें एक ड्रॉ चाहिए. एंड सिनेरियो 3 वुड बी 2-2 where South Africa must beat Sri Lanka 2-0, but then Sri Lanka must beat Australia minimum 1-0. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on this? Let's start with Dwapayan, Dwapayan, Gigi, and then Nitin. Uh, क्या लग रहा है? Are you guys also feeling hopeful? What scenario do you think is the most possible here? Which is the most likely here? Dwapayan.
I think uh, the 2-2 scenario is the most probable scenario if Australia play somewhere close to their best. If they find their batting mojo, then I
Yeah.
think the 2-2 scenario becomes the most probable scenario given the series is going. And then and SA will beat Sri Lanka 2-0. Should beat at least unless there is a rain etc. South Africa have found form and they are playing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Sri Lanka win the series against Australia 1-0. They are playing both the test matches in
Both
Gaul.
test matches
So,
in goal. Yes.
so that is very much a possibility. So
Yes.
it have a sneaky feeling that it could be India versus South Africa again,
Okay.
the a replay of the T20 World Cup final.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah. Gigi, what are your thoughts? Because let's be honest, अभी 1-0 तो हम ऊपर हैं, and the comments that are coming out of the Australian camp are similar to the comments that India made when they lost against New Zealand in Bangalore. ठीक है, एक टेस्ट मैच ही तो हारे हैं. Well, the turnaround did not come for India. Will the turnaround come for Australia? Because if the turnaround comes for Australia, then there are still a lot of scenarios, where India, if it goes down in the series, tab kya hoga, tab kya nahi hoga, because you really need to win this series to have any chance of qualifying. Losing this series is not going to work for India. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
आई थिंक ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लिए थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होती जा रही है चीजें, स्पेशली जॉश हेजलवुड का नहीं होना. आई मीन आई थिंक इन द लास्ट पिंक बॉल टेस्ट, Nitin has a sharper memory than me. He'll remember. I think he took 5 for 8 or something in that
Yeah,
13th all
yeah,
out, and we found him impossible to play because he would move the ball just around and place it at the right spot. He's a very tough bowler to deal with. So उनका नहीं खेलना, मुझे लगता है सारे भारतीय बल्लेबाज जो है वो आज पक्का कहीं ना कहीं मंदिर गए होंगे और उन्होंने बोला होगा भगवान को थैंक यू वेरी मच गॉड, इस मैच के एक मैच के लिए अगर आपने जो जॉश हेजलवुड हम नहीं खेलने हैं तो बहुत बढ़िया हो गया ये हमारे लिए. बट स्कॉट
yeah.
बोलैंड भी बहुत डेंजरस है, उनको कम नहीं आंका जा सकता.
True,
मैंने
true.
देखा है उनको एशेज वगैरह में, मतलब वो जिस तरीके से बॉलिंग करके और मैच घुमा देते हैं कई बार. ही कैन बी
Mm.
सरप्राइजिंगली सॉर्ट ऑफ डिसेप्टिव बॉलर है वो थोड़े से. तो वी हैव टू बी अ बिट केयरफुल. बट या, आई मीन दैट इज अ सीरियस ब्लो टू द ऑसीज. But then their problems stem more from their batting. The way their
Mm.
batting has sort of completely disappointed. I mean, Labuschagne I think needs to clearly change his approach. बहुत ज्यादा घर से सोच के आया था कि मैं सिर्फ डिफेंड ब्लॉक करूंगा फर्स्ट इनिंग में. इवेंचुअली एक बॉल आई, उनका विकेट ले गई. So that is not how the Aussies traditionally play. They're supposed to be free flowing. They play positive cricket. They play at a run rate of 4-5 per over. तो वो थोड़ा सा उनको, and I want them to come along here because this series was built so highly, not for the Aussies to bat like this. They were all over the place. फिर वो मजा नहीं आएगा. I mean, Bumrah is going to toy with them, you know. तो let's see. And I think मुझे भी जैसे द्वैपायन कह रहे हैं वो इंडिया साउथ अफ्रीका आज मैं सोच रहा था इस बारे में. Somebody forwarded this thing to me and I think we need to win couple of test matches. तो 2 टेस्ट मैच, एक तो हो ही गया है, एक और हो जाए तो I think yeah, the third scenario, the last scenario, or
Yeah,
perhaps the scenario number 3 looks a real possibility.
yeah. I,
In
I
this case,
still don't buy
obviously,
this going to be, yeah, unless and until there's a test match जहाँ पे 3 दिन आपके wash out हो रहे हैं. I still don't buy that there is going to be a draw. आज की डेट में draw इतना नहीं होता है unless weather is intervening really. हमने Nitin, we don't see those test matches where you need
No.
50 runs and you have 2 wickets and you need to survive the last hour of play. अब वो टेस्ट मैचेस नहीं दिखाई देते हैं. It's whether you want to call it कि it's a regression of the modern day batting or it's a demand of modern day batting कि आपका game change हो चुका है. We don't see those test matches. अब आपको draws नहीं दिखाई देंगे. Even if you have high scoring matches, उसमें आपको result मिल जाता है because the other team is trying to make up time, make up runs. Um, ओके, स्पोर्ट्स फैन यहाँ पे पूछ रहे हैं, हैव वी एवर वन टेस्ट सीरीज 3-1 और 4-1 इन सेना? ओके, ओके,
Tiger Pathodi's team did, no? In New Zealand.
yeah, but
New
let's not talk
Zealand.
about
Yeah,
60s,
yeah, yeah.
67, 68.
1970s. थोड़ा सा मॉडर्न डे, हम मॉडर्न डे बैटिंग की बात कर रहे हैं, तो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ मॉडर्न डे रिकॉर्ड्स। देखो भैया, पहले तो हम सेना में इतना जीते भी नहीं है, ठीक है? सीरीज जीतने की जो आप बात कर रहे हो, इतना हम नहीं जीते हैं।
Yeah.
बट आई डोंट थिंक 3-1 और 4-1, 5 टेस्ट सीरीज तो हम इतना खेले भी नहीं हैं अभी रिसेंट टाइम्स में। इंग्लैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया आर दी ओनली प्लेसेस वेयर वी हैव प्लेड 5 टेस्ट
2-0
मैच।
England, I think. Kapil
Two
Dev's
zero
team,
we have
86.
won in
Yeah,
'86 in
86.
England.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, 86 is not like, I know 86 feels like कि ये रहा 86, but it's still
Yeah,
40
yeah,
years ago now. So,
yeah, yeah,
talking about the last couple of years, last couple of decades, no, I think ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात करें, yes, न्यूजीलैंड सीरीज ऐसे ऐसे आपको मिल जाएंगे, 2-1, 3-1 आपको मिल जाएंगे 70s 80s में। पाकिस्तान में जाते थे इंडिया, काफी वहां पे भी काफी मैचेस में। आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ दे वन सीरीज इन
Kabir,
पाकिस्तान।
India first won their series in Pakistan in
That
2004.
was
2-1. 2-1.
no,
That was the first after
2004.
50
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
after 50
50 साल
years,
के बाद
अच्छा,
वो कभी जीते
1954,
नहीं।
19
हाँ
1953 or 54 में अंडर Lala Amarnath
No,
was
no,
the
no,
team
no.
हाँ
We
manager
never
then.
won.
No, no, we
Multan
didn't
we
was
win.
our
never won
We
it.
never
We
won it.
never won in Pakistan
We never
Multan
won a
team.
series.
It
That
was a
was
drawn
our.
series. Wow, it was a
हाँ
drawn series then. It was a
Yeah,
drawn series.
yeah,
Again, we can't go so far back to answer your
yeah,
question.
yeah.
No, 3-1. Like I said, 3-1, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, 5-0. This will be unprecedented. For an overseas team to come to Australia and win that way, that will be unprecedented. Perhaps comparing to the Ashes win that England celebrates so much.
Yeah.
But Nitin, just a final comment on this. South Africa looking decent. Look, from an Australian perspective, when their batting is struggling like this, a pink ball test is not what they need. क्या हम ये कह सकते हैं?
Yeah, you can say that, but they would also know that it was one spell or two spells in both
Hmm,
innings that did it that did it for India. So
hmm.
and you know who did it? That was
Hmm.
Jasprit Bumrah. And
Just Bumrah.
they would know that if they manage to play Bumrah out well with minimal damage, I think they have the batting to put up big scores and put India under pressure. So
Okay.
it's again I keep saying it's Bumrah or bust, Bumrah or bust, Bumrah or bust.
Okay, यहाँ पे ओम प्रकाश कह रहे हैं, and yes, we were just going to take this last comment from Om Prakash. He says कि Adelaide is the last chance for Australia, or else India will smash Australia. And kind of I agree with this, क्योंकि 5 match series में चलो आप पहला match हार गए हो, they still need there's still 4 matches remaining for the series to turn around. You're 2-0 down, and suddenly it's not looking very good for you, especially with Brisbane coming, जहाँ पे ball will bounce and seam once
Yeah.
again. This is what Travis Head had to say about Jasprit Bumrah, जहां पे इंडियन फैंस की नजर रहेगी रोहित शर्मा और शुभमन गिल पर कि वो कहां पे बैटिंग करेंगे, बैटिंग लाइनअप क्या रहेगा। ऑस्ट्रेलियन फैंस की नजर दोपहर रहेगी जसप्रीत बुमराह पर। हाउ इज देयर टीम गोइंग टू हैंडल बुमराह? We'll take Dopayan and Gigi for this final comment. Travis Head says he'll tell his grandkids. Of course, you will. When India wins the series 4-0, you will tell them. Jasprit will go down probably as one of the greatest fast bowlers to play the game. I think we are finding that at the moment, how challenging he can be. It's nice to play against that. It's gonna be nice to look at your career, tell the grandkids that you faced him. So not a bad series of playing with him. Hopefully, I'll face a few more times, says Travis Head. देखो इसमें तो कोई बात नहीं, you talk about superstar batters from India visiting Australian shows. We have a superstar bowler who's visited Australian shows this time, Dopayan, and then Gigi.
Yes, absolutely. Great compliment for Bumrah coming from an Australian and an Australian of the mentality of Travis Head, like who looks the typical Australian, who kind of is always ready to give it back. So
Hmm.
that is a great compliment for Bumrah. But yes, it is true. Like Nitin is absolutely right. It's a bit of a Bumrah or bust situation for both the teams. Like if Australia find a way to play him out,
Hmm.
even 1 or 2 wickets in the first session, and so there in his first spell, then there is
Hmm.
a game there. Then it won't be as one-sided as it seems. So I'm
Okay.
sure a lot of things will come into play in this week. They will video analyze him and do whatever needs to be done, and let's see how they come up with some sort of a defense against him, because that's what's going to decide this series. Yes.
Okay. Gigi, a little unfair from Introspect, who says कि Siraj has to step up. I thought he bowled really well. Fiver की जरूरत नहीं है, तीन तीन विकेट भी लोगे तो भी डैमेज हो जाता है, but he did really step up. And I think there's a comment from Siraj as well, who said, Bumrah was helping him, was talking him through the spell between the overs, not only as captain but as his bowling partner. He spoke with him what I was going through. Just do one thing, don't run after wickets, just keep bowling consistently in one area, enjoy your bowling. And I got wickets. If you still don't get wickets, then come and ask me. ये sentence बड़ा सही है. If you still don't get wickets, then you come and ask me कि कैसे wicket निकालना है. But I think you know Siraj found his mojo once again in the first test, and I think he did reasonably well. I think India के लिए there were so many positives in a match like that. Just so many positives after that 3-0 win. But Siraj definitely one of the bigger positives क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा चिंता हो गई थी सिराज को लेके कि this is a bowler who looks lost.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you do not have Mohammad Shami, fit as I mean, fit hai wo, but
Might have
not
him,
in sort of in
might
terms
have
of
him.
you know never
हो
know.
सकते
I
हैं
don't think so. I mean, as much as I got know, I don't think is in the plans for now because everything is going on pretty well. And Harshit Rana has stepped into that third bowler's role beautifully, third fast bowler's role beautifully. And Nitish Reddy has also done a bit of holding job as जैसे मोहम्मद वकील ने कहा था. But
हम्म,
coming back to Siraj, I thought he was brilliant, absolutely, and well
हम्म,
done to Gautam Gambhir and the Indian team management, the head coach for sticking to him, and not
हम्म,
playing Akash, which I thought they should have done. And a lot of people would have thought that Akashdeep को लाते और इनको drop करते. But the way he bowled was absolutely outstanding on day one, to keep
हम्म,
up that pressure with Jasprit Bumrah. और दो तीन विकेट
हम्म,
उन्होंने लिए और बॉल जिस तरह से घुमा के, and I think he's a hard competitor. Yeah, the way he comes at the batsman, that comes at their throats, and that we saw that what happened with Labuschagne when he blocked the ball and sort of went to kick it, and Siraj दूसरे एंड पे भागे. उन्होंने बोला भाई आप क्यों बॉल को किक अराउंड कर रहे हैं, मैं उठा लूंगा बॉल को. एंड आई थिंक इंडियन विराट ऑब्वियसली देन मजाक में उन्होंने उनका स्टंप, तो दोस थिंग्स सॉर्ट ऑफ चार्ज अप अ टीम. And I think Siraj is that kind of a bowler. He charges up the atmosphere. He runs it with steam and that purpose. And that is what we saw in the last tour also. जहाँ पर शायद वो लास्ट में अकेले रह गए थे. लास्ट बॉर्डर ब्रिस्बेन में टेस्ट मैच आते आते. So that way he has been absolutely outstanding in the. I mean India में वो struggle करते हैं थोड़ा सा. Having said that, I've seen a great spell of him in the test I covered in Mumbai against New Zealand in 21. I thought that opening spell of his was excellent. He took I think 3 wickets in that spell. So वो थोड़ा सा I think वहाँ पर उनको improvement की जरूरत है. But having said that, I think his stepping up, he has already stepped up, and that was much needed because you do not have Shami. You don't know when you will have Shami. So that support to Jasprit Bumrah is pretty important, And I'm also happy about the fact that ये पूरा pace attack बहुत well rested होगा because ये भगवान ने जाने किसने schedule बनाया. पहला टेस्ट हुआ 15 दिन हम बैठे रहे और सेकंड टेस्ट आ रहा है. तो मुझे
Yeah.
ख्याल से अब सब bowlers हमारे rested होंगे, and that will allow them to be at their best in this match because we need them to be at their best to sort of go all out and attack Australia from day one. And I think Siraj will be a very crucial element of that whole attack
Okay.
policy.
Okay, so a lot of comments in terms of what will the bowling combination. हमने discuss किया है कि we are not looking at too many changes in the bowling attack. Batting lineup में we are looking at changes. हमने आज WTC qualification scenario भी check किया है, and yes, India can make it to the WTC finals, but they absolutely need to win the series. उसमें कोई शक की बात नहीं है. If you don't win the series, a 2-2 draw means you're dependent on somebody else. Even with 3-1, you're dependent on somebody else. But first, you need to win 3-1. So this is going to be a long week of discussion about so many permutations and combinations. India got what they wanted from that 2-day game. They are looking primed for this day-night test match in Adelaide. Beyond the boundary पे चर्चा जारी रहेगी. हम कल फिर वापस लौटेंगे शाम को 6:30 and we'll look ahead once again to the second test match. Also keeping an eye out what happens with the Champions Trophy. Whenever the announcement does come in. For now, Nitin Nayak, Gopayan Datta, and Gaurav Gupta, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining in. All the viewers, thank you for joining in and watching our show. And please do subscribe so that your notifications are on YouTube when we do come on air. For now, this is goodbye from all of us.